Jake Morrison walked into the big white room on Centauri Station. His black shoes made soft sounds on the smooth floor. The air smelled clean and cold. 7 different alien races sat around a huge table that looked like it was made from one piece of silver metal. Each alien looked very different from the others. Jake was 55 years old and had gray hair. He wore a simple blue suit that Earth diplomats always wore to these meetings. His face showed no feelings as he sat down in the human chair. The chair was smaller than all the others because humans were smaller than most aliens. Lisa Carter sat next to Jake. She was 42 and had been a soldier for 20 years. Her green uniform had many medals on it. She kept her hands on the table, where everyone could see them. This was a sign of peace that most aliens understood. The meeting room was very quiet. The only sounds were the air machines and the soft breathing of different creatures. Some aliens did not breathe air like humans did, so they wore special suits. Prime Vextar stood up first. He was 9 feet tall and looked like a giant lizard that walked on 2 legs. His skin was dark green with gold spots that moved and changed colors. When he talked, his voice was deep and made the table shake a little. "Humans of Earth," he said, "we have watched your people for 100 years. You have grown fast. You have built ships and cities among the stars, but you have not shared your knowledge with others." Jake listened but did not speak. He had learned that aliens thought humans talked too much in meetings. It was better to listen first. A Zephyrian moved next to Vextar. The Zephyrian looked like it was made of blue glass that had light inside it. When it talked, the light got brighter and dimmer. A small machine next to it turned the light changes into words that humans could understand. "Your computers are very fast," the machine said for the Zephyrian. "They can solve problems that take our best machines many days to finish. We need this technology to help all people in the galaxy." Jake wrote notes on a small pad of paper. He still used paper because aliens could not read human electronic devices. This kept some human secrets safe. A Thackeray clicked its mouth parts together. The Thackeray looked like a giant ant that was as big as a human. It had 6 arms and big black eyes that never blinked. When it talked, it sounded like someone clicking their tongue very fast. "Human medicine is strange," the machine translated. "You can fix broken bodies in ways we do not understand. You can make old people young again. You can grow new arms and legs for people who lose them. This must be shared with all races." More aliens spoke. Each one wanted something different from humanity. The Altarians wanted human power sources that could run cities for hundreds of years. The Balerians wanted human food technology that could feed billions of people. The Andromedans wanted human space engines that could travel between stars in days instead of months. Lisa wrote her own notes. She had fought against some of these aliens in small wars. She knew that they were not always friendly to humans. Some of them had tried to take human colonies by force. Others had attacked human ships and stolen their cargo. Finally, all the aliens had spoken. Prime Vextar stood up again. The gold spots on his skin were moving faster now. This meant he was excited or angry. "We offer humanity a place in the Galactic Council," he said. "You will be junior members. You will have some rights to trade and travel. You will be protected by council law. But you must give us all your technology. You must open all your research centers. You must let us examine all your ships and weapons." Jake looked at Lisa. She raised one eyebrow just a little bit. This was a signal they had agreed on before the meeting. It meant the offer was not good. "You will also stop exploring new areas of space." Vextar continued. "All new exploration will be done by the Council. You will give us your fastest ships so we can study them." The room became very quiet. Jake could hear his own heart beating. He had expected this kind of offer, but hearing it still made him angry. The aliens wanted everything humans had worked for. They wanted to give humans almost nothing in return. Jake stood up slowly. He was much shorter than Vextar, but he did not feel small. He had been preparing for this moment for months. "Thank you for your offer," Jake said. His voice was calm and steady. "We need time to think about it." The aliens looked at each other. They made different sounds, clicks, whistles, and buzzes. Some of them glowed brighter or dimmer. These were their ways of talking to each other, without using words that humans could understand. "How much time do you need?" asked the Balerian. The Balerian looked like a cloud of green gas inside a clear suit shaped like a person. Jake picked up his papers and put them in his bag. Lisa did the same thing with her notes. They both stood up and pushed their chairs back under the table. "We will contact you when we have an answer," Jake said. Vexstar's gold spots moved very fast now. "No species has ever refused to join the council immediately," he said. "This is the best offer your people will ever receive." Jake looked at each alien around the table. Some of them looked angry. Others looked confused. A few looked worried. "We understand," Jake said. "But humans always think carefully before making big decisions. This is how we have survived for so long." Jake and Lisa walked toward the door. Their footsteps echoed in the big room. Behind them, the aliens started talking to each other in their own languages. The sounds got louder and more excited. At the door, Jake turned around one more time. "We will be in touch," he said. Then they left the room. The door closed behind them with a soft sound. In the hallway, Lisa walked close to Jake. "They are not going to be happy," she whispered. Jake nodded. "No, they are not. But that is their problem, not ours." They walked down the long hallway toward their ship. Neither of them knew that this meeting would change everything for humans and aliens alike. The choice they were about to make would shock the entire galaxy. Behind them, in the meeting room, 7 alien races tried to understand what had just happened. No one had ever walked away from the Galactic Council before. They did not know what to do next. The humans were already planning their next move. Captain Ben Rodriguez was drinking coffee in his ship when the message came. His cargo ship, the New Horizon, was flying back from a supply run to the outer colonies. The trip usually took 3 weeks, and Ben was looking forward to getting home to see his wife and 2 children. The message was marked with red symbols that meant it was very important. Ben had only seen these symbols twice before in his 15 years as a space captain. He opened the message and read it 3 times to make sure he understood it correctly. Operation Homecoming. The message said, "All human ships, stations, and colonies must return to Earth immediately. Leave all non-essential equipment behind. Bring only people and personal items. Do not tell aliens about this order. Complete withdrawal must happen within 6 months." Ben sat back in his chair and stared at the message. He had never heard of Operation Homecoming before. The order came from the highest levels of Earth government. It was signed by people Ben had only seen on news broadcasts. Ben called his crew to the main room of the ship. There were 12 people working on the New Horizon. Most of them had families living on different planets and space stations. "We have new orders," Ben told them. "We are going home to Earth. All humans are going home." His crew looked confused. Maria Santos, his second in command, raised her hand. "What about the cargo contract with the mining station? We are supposed to deliver food and supplies to them next week." Ben shook his head. "The contract is canceled. All contracts are canceled. We go to Earth now, on the mining planet Kepler, 442b. Kate Williams was having the worst day of her job as colony administrator. She had received the same message as Ben, but her job was much harder. She had to move 12,000 people off the planet and back to Earth. Kate stood in the main meeting hall of the colony. The hall was full of worried people asking questions. Some of them had lived on Kepler, 442b, for 20 years. Their children had been born there. They thought of it as their home. "I know this is hard," Kate said into the microphone, "but these orders come from Earth. We have to trust that our leaders know what they're doing." A man in the front row stood up. "What about our houses? What about the mines? We have worked for years to build this place." Kate looked at the mining equipment through the big windows. The machines were worth billions of dollars. They had taken 5 years to build and could dig metals from deep in the ground. Now, they would be left behind. "Pack only what you can carry," Kate said. "Everything else stays here." An alien supervisor named Zektath watched the humans pack their belongings. Zektath was a Thrakkari, one of the insect-like aliens that work with humans in the mines. He had 6 arms and could work much faster than humans, but he needed human machines to do his job. "This makes no sense," Zektas said to his assistant. Why would they leave all these valuable things behind? The assistant, another Thackeray, clicked his mouth parts nervously. Maybe they will come back soon. Zektas was not sure. The humans looked very serious about leaving. They were destroying computer files and packing only clothes and pictures of their families. This did not look like a short trip. On the research station near Proxima Centauri, Dr. Paul Jenkins was deleting years of scientific work. His computer screen showed thousands of files being erased forever. Each file represented months of research into new technologies and discoveries. His alien research partner, a Zephyrian named Shamor, watched in shock. The Zephyrian's crystal body was flashing red and blue lights, which meant it was very upset. Why are you destroying our work? Shamor asked through its translator machine. We were close to discovering new ways to travel between stars. Paul looked sad as he deleted another file. I have to follow orders. I am sorry. But this research could help everyone in the galaxy. Shamor said, humans and aliens working together. Paul stopped typing and looked at his alien friend. They had worked together for 8 years. They had shared meals and stories about their families. Paul would miss Shamor, but he had to obey his orders. Maybe someday we can work together again, Paul said. But not now. The biggest shock came at Haven Station, the largest trading post in the galaxy. Human traders had run businesses there for over 100 years. The station was like a small city floating in space, with shops, restaurants, and homes for 50,000 people. Carol Davis was the station manager. She had lived on Haven Station for 30 years and had never been to Earth. The station was her home, and managing it was her life's work. Now she had to watch as the last human ship prepared to leave. The cargo bays were full of personal belongings, but they left behind warehouses full of valuable goods and empty offices that had been busy with work just days before. An Altarian trader named Vexcol came to see Carol before she left. The Altarian was tall and thin with silver skin that reflected light like a mirror. Why are you leaving? Vexcol asked. Our business partnership has made both our species rich. Carol sealed the last box of her personal items. I have to go where my people go, she said. But what about all the trade agreements? What about the cargo that needs to be moved between systems? Carol handed Vexcol the keys to her office. You will have to find other ways to move cargo. Humans will not be doing it anymore. All across the galaxy, the same thing was happening. Human colonies that had existed for decades were being abandoned. Space stations built by human engineers were left empty. Trade routes that humans had operated for generations were closed down. The aliens watched in confusion as their human friends and business partners said goodbye and left. Most humans would not explain why they were leaving. They only said things like family emergency or policy change. Some aliens tried to convince humans to stay. They offered more money, better working conditions, and special privileges. But nothing worked. The humans were determined to go home. Within 6 months, almost every human outside the solar system had returned to Earth. The few who remained were mostly diplomats and spies who had special permission to stay. The Galactic Council watched reports of the human withdrawal with growing worry. Their best intelligence officers could not understand why humans were leaving successful colonies and profitable businesses. Prime Vextar called an emergency meeting of the council. What are the humans planning? He asked the other alien leaders. No one had an answer. The humans had simply disappeared from galactic society, leaving behind empty buildings and confused alien friends. For the first time in 300 years, humanity was alone in their home system. What they did next would surprise everyone. Commander Rick Hayes stood on the bridge of Defense Station Alpha. The space station was huge and shaped like a wheel. It flew around Earth and protected the planet from any danger that might come from space. Rick had been in charge of the station for 5 years. Through the big window, Rick could see the last human transport ship coming home. The ship was called the Freedom Star, and it carried the final group of humans returning from the outer colonies. Rick smiled as he watched the ship dock at Luna Station near the moon. That's the last one, said Lieutenant Amy Foster, who worked at the communication station. All our people are home now. Rick nodded. For the first time in 300 years, Every human was living in the solar system. There were no human colonies on distant planets. There were no human traders flying between alien worlds. Humanity had come home. The first message from the aliens came 3 days later. It appeared on Rick's communication screen early in the morning while he was drinking coffee. The message was from Prime Vextar of the Galactic Council. Commander Hayes, the message said, "We are worried about humanity's sudden departure from galactic society. Perhaps there has been a misunderstanding. We would like to discuss new terms for council membership." Rick read the message twice, then deleted it without answering. He had orders from Earth government to ignore all alien communications unless they were direct threats or emergencies. Jake Morrison was back on Earth now, working as the government's chief alien expert. He sat in his office in Washington, D.C., and watched alien messages pile up on his computer. There were dozens of them, all asking the same questions. Why had humans left? What did humans want? Could they negotiate? Jake deleted each message without reading it completely. He had more important work to do. The real problem started when alien businesses began to fail. The Altarian Banking Consortium was the first to send urgent messages. They had discovered that human spaceships carried 40% of all cargo between different star systems. Without human ships, it took much longer to move goods from one planet to another. President Amy Carter sat in the White House and read reports about the chaos spreading through alien space. She was Jake Morrison's niece and had been elected president just 2 months before the human withdrawal began. Some people said she was too young to be president at 38 years old, but she had already proven them wrong. "The aliens are getting scared," she told her advisors during a morning meeting. Their whole economy depended on human work more than they realized. On the farming world of Ceres Prime, things were getting worse each day. Lisa Park had been the harvest coordinator there for 12 years. She knew how to grow food for 12 different star systems using advanced farming machines that humans had built. Now a Balerian administrator named Gethvar was trying to do Lisa's job. Gethvar was a cloud of green gas inside a robot body. He was very smart, but he did not understand how human farming machines worked. The machines kept breaking down. The plants were dying. The harvest was failing. Billions of people on 12 different worlds were starting to go hungry. Gethvar sent desperate messages to Earth asking for help. "Please send farming experts," he wrote. "We need Lisa Park to come back. We will pay any price." The messages went to President Carter's desk. She read them and felt sad for the hungry people, but she could not change the plan. Lisa Park was now working on new farming projects on Earth. She would not be going back to Ceres Prime. The Council tried everything to get humans to respond. They sent trade delegations to the edge of the solar system. The alien ships waited at the border, hoping to talk to human representatives. But the human defense stations had new equipment. They broadcast an automatic message to any alien ship that came close. "The solar system is currently closed to outside visitors. Please conduct your business elsewhere." The alien ships tried to get closer, but they found something strange. There was some kind of energy field around the entire solar system. Their sensors could not see through it. They could not tell what humans were doing inside their home system. Council spies' satellites tried to look at Earth from far away, but their cameras could not see through the energy field either. The whole solar system was hidden behind some kind of barrier that blocked all outside observation. Prime Vextar called another emergency council meeting. The leaders of 7 alien species sat around their big table and tried to understand what was happening. "The humans have gone completely silent," said the Zephyrian representative, whose crystal body was flashing worried blue lights. "They will not answer any messages." "Their economy must be failing," said the Thackeray general. "They cannot survive without galactic trade." But the Balerian delegate disagreed. "Our intelligence shows massive energy readings from inside their system. They are building something big." "What could they be building?" asked the Andromedan ambassador. No one had an answer. The humans had completely cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy. They were not buying anything from alien traders. They were not selling anything to alien customers. They were not even talking to their former alien friends. The Council's latest offer arrived at Earth 3 months after the withdrawal. They promised humans full membership in the Council, not just junior membership. They offered territory rights to 3 star systems. They promised to share alien technology with humans. President Carter read the offer in her office. It was everything that humanity had wanted when Jake Morrison first went to that meeting on Centauri Station. If the Council had made this offer a year ago, humans would have accepted it immediately. Now it was too late. Carter wrote 2 words on the bottom of the offer. No response. Then she put it in her desk drawer with all the other alien messages. Commander Hayes watched alien ships gather at the edge of the solar system. There were more of them each week. Some were trying to spy on humans. Others were hoping to start trade negotiations. A few were probably planning military action. But none of them could get through the energy barrier. And none of them could see what humans were really doing inside the solar system. The truth was that humans were building something incredible. They were using technology that they had kept secret for decades. They were creating things that would shock the entire galaxy. But the aliens would have to wait to find out what it was. Humanity was not ready to reveal their secrets yet. The silence continued. And with each passing day, the aliens grew more worried about what the humans were planning in the darkness of their hidden home system. 1 year had passed since humans left the galaxy. The Galactic Council was meeting again, but this time the mood was very different. The big white room on Centauri Station felt cold and empty. 7 alien races sat around their table, but they all looked worried and angry. Prime Vexstar's golden spots were moving very fast across his green skin. This meant he was extremely upset. The galactic economy is failing, he said to the other council members. 3 major trade routes have collapsed completely. 7 colony worlds are running out of food. Our manufacturing systems are breaking down. The Thackeray delegate, Hive Queen Zektala, clicked her mandibles together loudly. She was a leader of all Thackeray in the galaxy and commanded millions of insect warriors. The humans have caused this crisis, she said. They must be forced to return and fix what they have broken. The other aliens nodded in agreement. The Zephyrian representative's crystal body was glowing bright red, which meant anger. The Balerian delegate's gas cloud was swirling faster inside his suit. Even the peaceful Andromedans looked ready for war. We gave them everything they wanted, said the Altarian banker. Full council membership, territory rights, technology sharing. They ignored our generous offer. Then we must use force, Zektala declared. Gather our fleets, surround their system, make them surrender. The council voted quickly. All 7 races agreed to send their warships to Earth. It would be the largest military fleet in galactic history. Over 400 ships from 7 different species would demand that humans return to galactic society. Admiral Greg Thompson sat in his secret observation post in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The observation post looked like a regular asteroid from the outside, but inside it was full of advanced human technology. Greg had been watching the Council's communications for months. When he saw the alien fleets gathering, Greg smiled. He was 62 years old and had been fighting in space for 40 years. He had expected the aliens to try force eventually. Humans had been preparing for this moment. Greg sent a message to Earth. They are coming. 7 fleets, 400 ships, estimated arrival in 2 weeks. President Carter received the message in the White House Situation Room. She was meeting with her top military advisors and scientists. The news did not surprise her. Are we ready? She asked. General Martha Lewis, the head of Earth's military forces, nodded. Our defenses are complete. The aliens are going to be very surprised. Dr. Helen Ross, Earth's chief scientist, looked excited rather than worried. This will be the perfect opportunity to show them what we have accomplished. The alien fleets arrived at the edge of the solar system exactly 2 weeks later. Captain Nina Torres commanded the lead ship, a massive Zephyrian battlecruiser called the Star Crusher. She had fought in 12 wars and had never lost a battle. Nina looked at her sensors and expected to see a few old human defense stations and some outdated warships. Earth's military had never been very strong compared to the great alien empires. The humans had always depended on diplomacy and trade rather than military power. Instead, Nina saw something that made her gasp in shock. The entire solar system was blazing with artificial light. Huge ring structures surrounded every planet. even tiny Mercury close to the sun. The rings were connected by streams of pure energy that looked like lightning frozen in space. The asteroid belt had been transformed into a network of manufacturing stations, each one larger than most alien cities. "This is impossible," Nina whispered. "How did they build all this in just 1 year?" Her science officer, a young Zephyrian named Kethmore, was studying the sensor readings. His crystal body was flashing confused yellow lights. "Admiral, these energy readings are beyond anything in our database. Each of those ring structures produces more power than our entire homeworld." Strange ships moved between the installations. They looked nothing like the old human designs that the aliens remembered. These ships were sleek and silver, and they moved without any visible engines. Some of them were as large as cities. The alien fleet stopped at the edge of the system. The captains of 400 warships all stared at their sensors in disbelief. This was not the primitive human civilization they had expected to find. Suddenly, every screen in the alien fleet showed the same image. A human man, in a military uniform, appeared on their communication systems. His hair was gray and his face was lined with age, but his eyes were sharp and confident. "Welcome to the solar system," Admiral Thompson said calmly. "I am Admiral Greg Thompson of the Human Defense Force. You wanted to see what we have been doing for the past year. Well, here it is." Captain Torres tried to respond, but her communication systems were not working properly. Somehow, the humans had taken control of all alien communications without permission. "You made a mistake," Admiral Thompson continued. "You thought we needed you. You thought our technology was simple. You thought we were just another weak species that would beg for your approval." Behind him, the alien captains could see the incredible transformation of the solar system. Massive construction projects were visible on every world. The moon had been turned into a giant factory. Mars was covered with gleaming cities. Even the outer planets had been surrounded by artificial structures. "We spent 300 years following your rules," Thompson said. "We contributed to your economy. We accepted your limitations. We tried to be good galactic citizens. But we never stopped developing our own technology. We just did it quietly, where you could not see it." The Admiral gestured toward a display screen that showed technical diagrams: quantum manufacturing, gravity manipulation, synthetic matter creation, consciousness transfer protocols. "We have been working on these technologies for decades, waiting for the right time to use them." Captain Torres finally managed to get her communications working. "What do you want from us?" she asked. Admiral Thompson's expression became serious. "Want? We do not want anything from you. That is the point. We have moved beyond needing your galactic civilization." The implications slowly sank in. Humanity had become completely independent. They could make everything they needed. They could go anywhere they wanted. They did not need alien permission or alien help. "We are not isolationists," Thompson explained. "We are simply choosing our own path. Any species that wants to join us is welcome, but they will have to accept our terms, not yours." Prime Vextar's image appeared on the communication screen. His scales had turned a pale color, which meant fear. "And if we demand compliance with Council law?" Admiral Thompson's smile was not friendly. "You are welcome to try. But remember, we have had an entire year to prepare, and we have learned a lot about what we are really capable of when we stop holding back." The alien fleet sat motionless at the edge of the solar system. 400 warships faced a transformed human civilization, and for the first time in galactic history, the aliens were afraid. They had come to force humanity back to the negotiating table. Instead, they discovered that humanity had built their own table, and it was bigger and better than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Jake Morrison floated in space between the alien fleet and the solar system. His small diplomatic ship was tiny compared to the massive warships around him, but he was not afraid. Behind him, the transformed solar system glowed with the light of human achievement. Ahead of him, 400 alien ships waited nervously at the system's edge. Jake was now Earth's foreign minister. At 60 years old, he had gray hair and lines around his eyes, but he felt more confident than ever before. This meeting would decide the future of human and alien relations. Prime Vextar appeared on the communication screen inside Jake's ship. The giant lizard's golden spots were barely moving, which meant he was trying to stay calm. But Jake could see fear in Vextar's vertical pupils. "How?" Vextar asked. It was the only word he could manage. Jake smiled and looked out at the gleaming ring structures that surrounded Earth. "You made a big mistake about humans," he said. "You thought we needed you. You thought our technology was simple compared to yours. You thought we were just another young species asking for help." He pointed toward Mars, which was now covered with silver cities that sparkled in the sunlight. "We spent 3 centuries playing by your rules. We contributed to your economy. We followed your laws. We accepted your limitations on what we could do and where we could go." President Amy Carter joined the conversation from Earth. Her image appeared next to Jake's on the alien communication screens. She was sitting in the Oval Office, but through the window behind her, Vextar could see ships flying through Earth's sky that defied everything he knew about physics. "The withdrawal gave us something we had never had before," President Carter said. "Complete freedom to develop without anyone watching us or controlling us. No council regulations. No technology sharing requirements. No limits on our research." Jake nodded. 1 year. That is all it took to implement technologies we have been developing in secret for decades. Quantum manufacturing lets us create any material we need from basic atoms. Gravity manipulation allows our ships to travel faster than anything in the galaxy. Synthetic matter creation means we can build entire cities in weeks instead of years. The alien leaders exchanged worried glances on their screens. The Thackeray Queen's mandibles were clicking nervously. The Zephyrian representative's crystal body was flashing confused colors. They were beginning to understand how badly they had misjudged humanity. "Consciousness transfer protocols," added Dr. Helen Ross, Earth's chief scientist, as her image joined the conversation. "We can back up human minds and transfer them to new bodies. Death is becoming optional for our species." General Martha Lewis appeared next. Behind her, through the window of her office, alien captains could see human ships that looked like they were made of liquid metal. "We have been holding back for 300 years, she said, waiting for permission that was never going to come. The Thackeray delegate, General Kethvar, finally found his voice. "What do you want from us?" he asked. Jake's expression became serious. "Want? We do not want anything from you anymore. That is the whole point. We have moved beyond needing galactic civilization as you built it." The words hit the alien leaders like physical blows. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had been the center of all civilization. Every species wanted to join. Every planet wanted council protection and trade rights. The idea that someone might not need them was impossible to accept. President Carter leaned forward in her chair. "We are not trying to be cruel. We are simply choosing our own path. Any species that wants to join us is welcome to apply. But they will have to accept our terms and our values, not yours." Admiral Thompson's voice came through the communication system from his command post. "We have already received secret diplomatic missions from 3 species. The economic chaos after our withdrawal convinced them that the Council's way is not the only way." This news shocked the Council members even more. Some of their own allies were already talking to humans behind their backs. Vextar scales began to change color, turning darker with despair. "And if we attempt to force compliance with Council law?" Jake looked directly at the alien leader. "You are welcome to try. But remember what you have seen here today. We spent 1 year building all of this while keeping it secret from your best spy networks. What do you think we could build if we considered you a real threat?" Captain Nina Torres, commanding the lead alien warship, studied her sensor readings again. The human installations were producing energy levels that her instruments could barely measure. If humans could build this much in 1 year of secret work, what could they accomplish in 10 years of open development? "We came here to bring you back to our table," Vextar said quietly. President Carter smiled. "But we built our own table. And now the galaxy has to decide which table offers a better future." The alien fleet began to withdraw without firing a single shot. The The sight of human achievement had convinced them that military force would be useless. As their ships turned away from the solar system, alien captains sent urgent messages to their home worlds. The galaxy was changing. For the first time in history, there was an alternative to the Galactic Council. Species that had never been offered full membership were suddenly interested in this new human civilization. Planets that had been ignored by the Council started sending messages to Earth. Jake watched the alien fleet disappear into hyperspace. Through his ship's windows, he could see construction continuing on the ring structures around Jupiter. Humans were not slowing down their development just because the crisis had passed. President Carter's final message went out to every species in the galaxy. The door is open for those who want something better, but the days of others controlling human destiny are over forever. In the weeks that followed, 17 species sent formal requests to join the Human Alliance. The Galactic Council's membership began to shrink as worlds and star systems chose the human path instead. Humanity had not just walked away from the Council's table. They had proved that their own table was bigger, stronger, and offered more opportunity for growth. The galaxy would never be the same, and humans would never again accept limits placed on them by others. The age of human independence had begun, and the stars themselves seemed brighter because of it.